All right, cutting to the chase. Let's get stuck into it this time. Get straight to the details. Where do we go? 20 minutes arguing. That's good.
We only argued for 15.
So, topic I want to talk about. You and I have been actively doing this. The goal for this year is staying like lean-ish year round. So we're like building, cutting, but like always just like on the more leaner side. Like I'm not that invested in like really pushing body weight and getting really like kind of soft and, you know, just kind of like looking at myself in the mirror this year and being like, oh, I know I'm doing this because I'm trying to get bigger, but I still don't really like what I see. Like I was talking to a guy at the gym the other day and he's just like, oh, you know, how's training going? I'm like, yeah, so you just started like a cut. And he's like, you don't need to cut. And I was like, it kind of like hit a little bit of a nerve, but no, but it was more
just retracted the shoulder blade a little bit.
No, but it was more like I should be able to just cut whenever.
Yeah.
You know, and I just said to him, I said, honestly, man, I said, I'm just not that interested in, like, I said, if I go any further than this, I just run the risk of like not liking what I see.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for someone who trains 5 days a week, you should always really enjoy to a degree what you see, unless you're in such an improvement block. Like you can just see you can see the end goal and you're like, this size is worth it. Like, yeah.
I think that was the blessing and the curse of powerlifting. Because it was like, if you got fat, it was like, yeah, but my bench is up.
Yeah.
You know, like you could feel the benefits.
There was something else to like.
Whereas if it's like my goal is to be bigger and leaner at the end of the year, it's like,
it's only so big.
This is just big. I'm not like, do I look better?
I'm
sure I do, but
yeah, there's only like you can only get so big though until you are just that's the only string you're pulling on.
Of course,
you're like, yeah, would never take my shirt off. Like the only person that sees my shirt off because they have to is my wife. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's been points of like my journey where I've been pushing the size, and I'm like, no one's seeing this shit.
Yeah.
So I'm just not in a position where I want to do that anymore. So what I thought would be cool is talking about maybe why we're prioritizing that as a goal this year. Yeah. And then just talking about our training strategies, nutrition strategies, all of the stuff involved in it. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are the same. You know, I've picked up clients that aren't really that happy with like where they are in the position of their build. Yeah. And I've helped them, you know, kind of diet some weight off. And then I've just said to them, like, just so you know, for reference, we never get any softer than where you are about a month ago. Yeah. Been dieting for fucking 3 months before it though. Yeah. Just because like the idea that they had, or the person that was steering the ship before them was just size, but never really kind of asked the person like, hey, what are you willing to deal with? You know, what are you willing to do to be comfortable with? So I feel like we can give some value to those people today who want to stay lean all year round. Yeah. So where are you coming from this ambition from? Because we've done it all, you and I.
Yeah, I've had all the neck chins.
Yeah.
Front and back.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've never had a neck roll, don't talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
On purpose.
What's your main driver for not pushing the body weight like that?
The first one is honestly would just be comfort.
Yeah.
Like lifestyle comfort.
Yeah.
I like being able, as much as I complained about the hills in the podcast last week, I like being able to push the pram for 35 minutes up and down hills and it not be an issue.
Yeah.
I like being active and being able to get up and down off the floor and be able to breathe and all that kind of shit. Like I can function as a useful human being.
Yep.
And I worked really hard. So if you haven't heard the story before, hopefully you didn't want a short answer because it's a story time now.
Fucking hell.
When I was at my like biggest, we went and did like a food tasting for the wedding. My wife was in the lounge room at the front of the house. And I was in the master bedroom, and I was in the lounge room, putting on a pair of Timberlands. And I just hear, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, why?" She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Putting my boots on." She's like, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "I can hear you grunting." I was just trying to get my shoes on, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's
problem number one.
Like, we're pushing it. Like, a best total ever, cool. But I also had no face, no neck. Like, even looked at the anniversary pictures, like, looking at my legs. I was like, fuck. And I'd lost 10 kilos. So, living like that isn't it for me.
Yeah, even temporarily.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a goal. The cost, then, okay, so what, the secondary things, I'm not willing to pay the price to do what's required to add. So, like, I could get bigger and leaner, but the cost I would have to pay to put 5 kilos of size on in 12 months versus 2, I'm not willing to pay it.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm not willing to eat the food. I'm not willing to be lethargic and sleepy and tired and have sore feet when I walk and snore and do all of that shit and spend $500 a week on fucking groceries to push my blood pressure, to push my health. I'm just not there anymore.
You don't really have to either. You know what I mean?
Thirdly, which I think is probably what you're alluding to with your goal, this is the first time I've been in shape. Like, I can't explain how surreal it is to look at our YouTube cover videos, and I'm not saying I look like a fucking pro bodybuilder. I'm not.
Yeah.
I feel like I belong.
Yeah.
On that cover.
Yeah.
On the thumbnail of a YouTube video. Like, this week's one's like me doing a lat raise by myself. I'm like, fuck. So, this is the first time I've ever felt that.
Yeah.
I'd like to just feel that all the time. Like, honestly, it's like I don't.
Yeah.
I really like how it looks. I like how it feels to look like that.
Yeah.
And it's motivating in the gym every day that I don't look in the mirror and it doesn't look that different. To be like, you look like this, dude. And if you keep going, it'll keep getting better.
Yeah. Do you think, could you have taken the same route in the past and gotten to the same destination?
I've asked myself this a lot.
I asked myself this a bit too. I don't know where I sit with it.
About the move to... I asked it about the move to powerlifting.
Yeah.
It's like, what if I just stayed, for lack of a better term, hobby building?
Would you be the same size now?
No, just like what would happen? What would have happened if I dedicated that 5 years to physique?
Oh, you just would have been bigger sooner.
Yeah, it's like, do I look different? Am I 5 kilos bigger? Am I 10 kilos bigger? If I took the same attitude, because I was like, I'll die for this.
No,
but
you went all in.
Like,
yeah. I think you kind of summed it up a little, probably a month ago, maybe a little bit. You were just like, I used to think you can build muscle and build an aesthetic physique powerlifting. And you were like, I was absolutely wrong. You can only go so far with like hyper specific powerlifting. Let's talk it because it's like there's power building. You know, you've got some accessories, and then you've got we'll call it your fluff and buff. Just
I didn't train my cars for 5 years.
That's what I mean. Like you can do powerlifting because I know there's people who all can do it. Of course you can. You can squat, bench, and deadlift, and then you can fill the gaps.
Bigger. Yeah.
But if you just like doing everything from a periodization and specificity
does this
level,
make me better at SBD?
Yeah, then you're probably missing a lot of those things because what you're missing, you're getting filled with all of the specificity. So I think from that perspective, like you probably would have just gotten to where you go, I'm happy sooner. You know what I mean? Like with your physique, like you would have but like you probably just weren't looking at it at the time you were pursuing powerlifting. You probably weren't looking at yourself through that lens.
No.
However, on the other side of it, once you went back to body composition training, it took like 18 months. Really? For you to
even.
Yeah,
9 months.
Yeah, well there you go. So it's like you would have just got
So I didn't really do it until LJ was born.
Yeah, so you would have just got way sooner. Oh yeah, you were running and jumping and
because
all kinds of business.
Couldn't put my fucking shoes on.
Yeah, so I get that. Yeah, I get that. I sit with it a lot. Like it's hard because I've seen benefit to pushing the size, like and pushing the body weight. Like I have really seen like that whole build and cut mentality. Well, we'll call it like bulking because that's what it typically was.
Yeah.
And I did see a lot of progress doing that. So I think for some people, like, you've probably got to ask yourself the question of, like, am I willing to deal with the costs of this? Like, as in being a bit soft and stuff. And you've got to be really mentally, kind of fortified, because you got to keep persisting and then know that, like, in 9 months' time, like, the end outcome's better.
Yeah.
That's where it's really hard for a lot of people with bodybuilding in general. Like, with physique training in general. And I'm not talking about cutting. Like, I feel like cutting's really instantly rewarding. Like, you can feel lighter, and then you can get lighter, and then you can get leaner. Yeah. So you got to think, like, when you first start a cut, like, I feel better. When then you see the number go down, you still probably look the same. And then all of a sudden, those things don't really change too much, but you look exponentially better. When you're building, it's not necessarily like that. Sure, you enjoy your food for a little bit, then you get a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Then you get a little bit soft. Yeah, you're strong, but your main objective was to build the muscle. Like, you don't really get to see it. It's just like, it's almost like
silhouette.
Yeah, you've got these, like, blurred goggles on, and you can see, you're like, oh yeah, like, this kind of looks good. Like, we won't know until later on, and that's why it's so tough, I think.
Yeah, I think I had that, and this might be the thing too. I had that mentality for powerlifting. I didn't compete 3 times a year. I competed once. Because it was like, there's no point me spending 3 months peaking where I'm not building muscle and I'm not getting stronger. There's no point spending time expressing strength when I know I'm not strong enough. My goal is to be a national level athlete. I know to do that I need to be 100 kilos at 5'8", and I need to put up at least 600, if not 650 at the time. So this work now, when my 5 is going up, when my this is going up, when all my metrics and numbers are going up, I'm getting bigger and heavier. I'm in. Now, there's no show. Yep. So if I was going to compete, I'm like, I'll put the hoodie on for 8 months. I don't care. Yeah, I'll do whatever it takes for that date to do that, but I don't have one.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit demotivating now. Like, I know if I'm like a bit soft, I'm like, I won't go gym. Yeah. I don't necessarily, but, like, you know what I mean.
Like, I know, I guess the point I'm making is I know I have the gear in my head if I decide that I don't care.
Yeah.
That I'll do whatever this grunt work is. I'm not attached to anything else because I know it's going to benefit me at that point.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm out of shape. I don't care if I can't move.
But you got the proof though, right? So I wonder, like, if you're, say, let's go with someone who's not there yet, but doesn't know. It's like, how do they make that choice?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?